I'm on my sofa today, which I guess is technically a love seat because it only seats two, but I call it a sofa. Anyway, that's not the story. I'm trying to finish up my Something Magic blanket. This was a crochet along. It started the 23rd of July of this past year, and it's big. It's a big blanket, and um, it starts out in one piece and then is some parts added to it and then some more parts added to it and then going around it some more. And it ends up with these Jacob's ladder, if you're familiar with Jacob's ladder. But for me at least, and maybe because I didn't use the same yarn the designer did, I'm using Red Heart Super Saver, except for this burgundy, which is Walmart's brand basics. It got really, really, really a lot of slack in here when I did the Jacob's ladder. And it's just, it doesn't look bad when you just kind of flatten it out like that. But I think anybody trying to use it would not only put their toes or fingers through it, but possibly all the way up to the elbow. So I'm tightening it up, which is not as tedious as I guess it could have been because I don't mind sewing. I like sewing. I did more sewing and embroidery than crocheting and knitting for a long time. So this is what I'm doing, and I just have a metal tapestry needle blunt end on it. Suppose I could do it with a small crochet hook, but I think this is easier. And so what I'm doing is I'm just taking a bit of yarn, tying it in on one side, and just carefully following the strand of yarn, and then pulling it tight like a shoelace, and just kind of judging how tight I want to pull it. And not having a really smart moment when I started doing this corner. I did another one yesterday. I started from the top, which does not make it real easy to follow the next strand down. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to skip down and I'm going to do the lower ones and then work my way back up. And probably when I get to the last one, it's going to be really hard to do. But then again, maybe I can just leave that one or something if it doesn't look too bad. But yeah, there's a lot of slack in here. Just really, really too much. You really can't consider that as a finished product the way it is. So see, this is the slack that's still here, and these are the few that I tightened up. And it makes it a little bit, it doesn't look quite as good as I guess if you just have flat stitches like this, but I think it's better than the big gap. So anyone who's doing this, doing the Something Magic, it's a nice looking thing. But when you get to those corner things, you may want to consider if you want to do as many chains as it says, or maybe you want to switch down to a smaller hook or something, or just do what I'm doing and sew it up at the end if it's too big for you. But if you want to see more about the colors, the yarn I'm using, this is me, not under patterns or anything. I'm just a person, so you just have to look me up as a person. And I have stuff listed there. And I showed this blanket, the whole thing, a couple times in a couple of other videos, and there are photos of it on the Ravelry page. So it's a free pattern, and if you've got some time and you want to do a very interesting large project, some interesting stitches in it, and yeah, keep you occupied for a while. So anyway, speaking of being occupied, I'm going to go back to tightening these little critters up. Okay, have fun.